everyone. So today I wanted to just talk through some of, I guess, just thoughts I've been having about being disabled and my disability, and I guess my relationship to my disability and how I feel that has changed since I first, I guess, found out. So I guess I could start off by telling you a little bit about what I have. So I have hypermobile EDS, which stands for hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I think that's how you pronounce it. I always misspell it. I just call it hypermobile EDS, which means my joints are very bendy. I don't actually remember what's normal. My knees bend too far, my spine bends too far. It's just my joints aren't very good, and it might, sometimes having just hypermobility is fine and it's not disabling, and a lot of people have just non-disabling hypermobility, but it's kind of like a spectrum. It's like a spectrum where it can be disabling if it's more severe. The problem with hypermobility is that your joints kind of don't know when to stop bending, so it's very easy to injure them because they won't stop themselves before you injure them. So, or like dislocations or like partial dislocations is what I get more often. Also, your joints click a lot. What else? You also have a lot of chronic pain and just general instability for some people. Like for me, I struggle a bit with balance. But yeah, the main things that bother me are the constant chronic pain and the lack of stability because yeah, it's hard to walk sometimes. I get tired very easily. Yeah, I only found out about this about a year ago because I've always had the symptoms of it. I think they have been getting like I don't know if they got worse. I think they did get worse. I think that is a thing. Yeah, I think they've been getting harder to deal with as the years go by. But I only found out a year ago because I've always had chronic pain and I've always had the symptoms I just listed, but it's kind of been brushed off. Like I was just told like, "Oh, Nikki's just allergic to exercise and never wants to do anything." And whenever I like had like a partial dislocation where it wasn't really like that visible to everyone else or anything like that, even when I did like straight up break one of my joints. But yeah, and I do remember being in pain, but I guess I just thought that it was normal to be in pain all the time. Like I'm in pain at all times to varying degrees depending on my energy levels. I guess sometimes even the weather or like if I'm more stressed, I will feel more pain, but like I also want to make clear that my stress is not the only thing causing it. There is stuff wrong with my genes. It's not just stress. Unfortunately, breathing exercises and meditation will not fix this. Um, can you tell someone told me to do that? Yeah, they're kind of worse signs because I had scoliosis as a kid, which I forgot about until like right before I went to the physiotherapist. Because before I went to the physiotherapist, I knew that I was in pain all the time, but I thought it was more stress related, or like I went to the doctor and he just told me it was hormonal, which yeah, I believed him then. I wouldn't believe him now. Yeah, I'm really tired of doctors just going, "What? You have a uterus? Hormones." Like be for real right now. Anyway. Yeah, but yes, I was told it was hormonal, which I was hoping it was hormonal. So I happily went along to all of the blood tests, and everything. But yeah, I did. But the only thing that I found out from those blood tests is that I have a good amount more testosterone than expected, which is kind of cool, but didn't really help. And then I remembered, like as a kid, there was something wrong with my hip muscles, which gave me scoliosis, which a weird thing to forget. And I had like a whole rehabilitation program for it. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not hormonal then, if everything seems fine on my lab test results. Maybe it's just something wrong with my muscles. Maybe I'm just in pain because of that. The other option was maybe it was just stress. I was just so stressed all of the time that it was just chronic fatigue from that. But I went to the physiotherapist and like she did like all the tests and like examined everything, checked my strength levels everywhere. And then I think she saw like how I bend my knees, because I bend my knees like I bend them weird, okay? And she saw my elbows and she was like, "Do you know that you're hypermobile?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Well, I'm pretty sure that you're very likely to have hypermobile EDS." But she did like the Bechtel test and everything and asked me about my history, and she was like, "Yeah, it looks like a very good match." She was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have hypermobile EDS, but don't expect to get diagnosed because it's really hard to get diagnosed. But like I'll write you a letter to your GP being like, I'm pretty sure this is what they have." So I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, bit weird that they don't want to diagnose this, but okay. I went to the GP. She asked me a bunch of questions. I told her a bunch of my history and being like, "Yeah, I'm in pain all the time. I'm struggling a lot more with walking. Like I couldn't even go to like the grocery store to get food without having to take a break." Like I don't know what I felt. I felt like very confused, but also like felt like really bad and ashamed because like I had to rest on like those like benches they have for like old people. They're not for old people, they're for everyone who needs them. But in my head I was like, why am I taking up space? But yeah, that doctor, that was at a different surgery now, I think. But that doctor was very nice and she listened to me and she like asked me my history again. And I was like, "Yeah, that does sound like hypermobile EDS." But yeah, anyway, then we went to the rheumatologist because the GP was like, "Yeah, this looks like hypermobile EDS. We'll send you off to the rheumatologist." And they did all the tests again. They asked me my history again, this time with like more questions. Yeah, they did the Bechtel test again. I think I got like 6 out of 9 or 7. I think it was 6. I think it was 6. I'm pretty sure it was 6 because I feel like I remember laughing at the fact that it looked like a 69 on my file. But anyway, and I think you need 5 out of 9 to be diagnosed. Like there were other questions too, but I think I was meeting those. And I think the last thing, like once you meet those criteria, I think they genetic test you to like make sure it's not one of the other types of EDS. Because the one I have is the hypermobile one. But there's like cardiovascular or something else. Like after doing all the tests, this I'm kind of annoyed about. Because I kind of didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't really advocate for myself here because I kind of like missed what the rheumatologist was saying, because she was like, "Well, it looks really likely you definitely have hypermobility," but she was like, "Well, we could genetic test it, but it's not gonna change treatment, so we're just not gonna." But the thing is, she didn't say we're just not gonna, she just said it's not gonna change treatment. Now that I think about it, that kind of does imply her being like, "So we're just not gonna," but I didn't get that, so I was like, okay. And then she gave me the letter being like, "Yeah, hypermobility, treatment plan, physiotherapy, da da da." And then she discharged me. And then I left. And then when I left, I was like, "Oh shit, wait. She didn't diagnose me with VD." So I think the reason she didn't send me off for genetic, yeah, that's what I said. It's not gonna change treatment, so I think they don't want to spend the money to like take your genes out if it doesn't matter, because she was like, "Yeah, your pain's mechanical nature, so we can't fix it. So if we can't fix it, what's the point of diagnosing it?" Which, the point in diagnosing it would have been so I could get support. So, yeah, if you're just here to listen to someone who had their genes taken out and shit, then, bye, I guess. This is not the video for you, because, like my physiotherapist said, it's really hard to get diagnosed, even if you do have it. Like 3 people at least said I have it. You know, that's what I tell doctors, that's what doctors tell me, that is what's on my files whenever I'm talking to them. I just don't have the official stamp of approval, whatever. So that's why I say that's what I have, because that's what everyone says I have. But yeah, I do kind of wish I put my foot down. I wish I realized, because I don't know, because I'm also autistic, which you might have figured out, because all my doctors tell me they can tell the second I walk in a room. Like every time I talk to a psychiatrist or psychologist or something, they're like, "Are you Did you? I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Do you know you're autistic? And I'm like, yeah, I've been on a waiting list for like 4 years. Like, it's the popular opinion. Autistic by popular opinion. Autistic by popular of opinion of professionals, you know? But yeah, I'm just gonna say it anyway because I feel like we need some representation of people who don't have thousands of pounds to go and chase private diagnosis. Because I can't even pay rent, but yeah. Yeah, I wish I could go to a private clinic. I might look into it when I have money. But right now I'm autistic and EDS by popular opinion. But yeah, so I was kind of bummed out by that diagnosis, not just because she didn't refer me further, but because I was really hoping it was hormonal. Like, I was really on Dr. Misogynist side, you know? I was really hoping it was hormonal because then they could have just like given me a pill or something. Or even stress, because then like maybe with enough therapy it would have gotten better, but no, it had to be the genetic disability you can't fix. So yeah, I didn't take it very well. I kind of tried to ignore it for as long as I could, even though I started chasing up people because I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I used to work as a barista, my dudes. That was not a good idea. And let me tell you why. Yeah, I used to work as a barista, and even then I couldn't work more than like 3 hours at a time before like getting ridiculously tired and not really being able to function. I tried to do longer, it didn't work. But yeah, and then even after those 3 hours, like baristas run around all the time, and it was a small cafe. But like, yeah. So I would come home and I would just not move off my bed at all. I was in so much pain. But I was like, everyone feels this way. This is just what the capitalism grind is about. Like, everybody feels this way. Everybody feels pain all the time. Everybody comes home after their shift not being able to move. Yeah, not everybody does that. Yeah, so I kept going to work because I needed money, as we all do. I moved across the country for uni by myself. I didn't have a place to go back to. I came here with no money, no savings, no anything. So, yeah, I kind of did not have the room for a disability right now. So I was like, I'm just gonna push that away right now because I don't have time for this. But yeah, my body did not listen to that. So I kept going to work and I was in excruciating pain every time I went and for days afterwards. And my partner, and he was like, maybe you should rest. And I was like, maybe the bills need to be paid. And then I went to work and I injured my knee and then I couldn't work anymore. So joke's on me. I say this like it's a silly joke. I sobbed so much at A&E. So yeah, then I had to quit my job. Um and I had no money and then I went into debt because I couldn't do any job for a while. And then I started to have a crisis. I don't know. I kind of just grew up with this core belief that I was only worthy of being loved or cared for if I was useful. I guess like I could think of it coming from like two key places. One of them being like I remember being at school, and I had a very hard time making and keeping friends. I wasn't very well liked and I didn't know why. No matter how hard I tried, I was just always weird. Everything I did was weird or cringe or I didn't understand. Getting bullied, I would get bullied. I didn't realize I was bullied until like years later. I don't know, maybe it's the autism, maybe I was just a weird kid. I also had a lot of issues. I got very attached to people very quickly and to a point where I understand why it would freak people out and I've tried to stop doing that. Because I look back and I'm like, yeah, just seeing a kid cling to you just because you gave them a hug once. Kind of weird. Which I'm not saying that to be evil myself. I was very touch starved and everything, so if anyone gave me a hug, I was like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, I see why that was weird. But yeah, anyway, it just kind of I think I also at the same time I was watching like Sherlock and like BBC version of Sherlock. I was really into Sherlock. And like The Big Bang Theory, which, okay, that was the first sign of my mental illness, okay? Like, don't keep seeing like dust. So sorry if you guys can see dust. I need to dust. Yeah, that was, yeah, don't make life decisions. Why is there so much dust in here? I keep seeing it. I'm trying to give life advice. Okay. Don't, what was I saying? Don't make life philosophies based on the Big Bang Theory. Okay? You know, I wish someone told me Sherlock was autism coded, because I had like a couple years where I was legitimately like, am I a sociopath? Because I relate to this guy. No, man's autistic. Don't. He's lying to himself. He thinks being a sociopath is cooler, but man just has a neurodevelopmental disability. Like, it's fine, but he's on copium. Yeah, I saw them in their shows, and I was like, okay, well, the people around them also don't really like them very much, but they still keep them around, and they still have friends. So what are they doing that I'm not doing? And what I realized is, oh, okay, they're very smart. They're like geniuses. They're like the best people out of everyone. So they can't leave them because they're useful. And Kid Me went, I'm gonna be that. Kid Me went, okay, fine. If I can't be liked for who I am, if I'm such a shitty person, then I'm just gonna be the smartest guy around. And then they'll have to have me around. And they'll have to include me. Because I'll be smart. And it kind of worked. Like, whenever we had group projects and things, people would want to suddenly be my friend, which that was just called using me, but I was taking any scraps I could get, okay? I was like, if all I can get is conditional love, then boy, I will meet those conditions to 120%, okay? And yeah, I achieved my goal. I got like the highest grade average and like at the end of GCSEs in my whole secondary school. But I also opened my results letter all by myself with no one, surprisingly, to congratulate me and be like, you know what? Good job. You deserve love now. Who would have thought? So yeah, if you're doing your school stuff right now and you're stressing out like, oh my god, whatever, like, it's not that deep. It's really not. It will not fix your life. Well, actually, maybe it will fix yours. Didn't fix mine. I'd be kind of annoyed if it fixed yours, because it didn't fix mine. But yeah, so that was at school, and then at home, home life wasn't very PG. But basically, yeah, I didn't want to be at home. It was very clear to me, like, it was made very clear to me that, like, if I wasn't useful and I didn't meet certain expectations, or even if I did meet those expectations and someone was just in a bad mood, but yeah, I don't want to get into it too much, because that's not really what I'm talking about, but it's like, you know, it does something to your self-worth if you're having a mental breakdown and struggling with multiple disabilities, and you're just being told, it's like, you better do all of these things perfectly every single day, or you're getting kicked out, or you're getting hurt, you know? Like, it does something to you. And it's not a good something. It gives you PTSD. It makes your therapist look at you like, shit, man. But yeah, basically, I've learned that if I want to avoid getting hurt, if I want to avoid getting thrown out into the street, if I want to avoid being unloved and lonely, if I want to have people around, I need to meet certain conditions. I need to be useful. To deserve to be here and to live and to be taken care of, I need to be useful. I need to be worthy of this stuff. So what the fuck does this kid do when their knee is broken and they suddenly have disabilities that they can't ignore anymore and can't push through with pure adrenaline and cortisol? The answer is they cry a lot. Yet another surprise, when I was not able to function, none of the people that I was fighting so hard to be useful for, to keep them in my life so they wouldn't throw me out of it, or so they wouldn't do stuff to me, yeah, none of those people cared. None of those people helped me. Which, you know, now that I think about it, I'm kind of like, wow, that's not nice. But back then, I think it only reinforced my idea that, like, yeah, this is my worst nightmare. I'm not useful anymore, and everyone left. Nobody cares, and I'm left to rot and die alone. But yeah, not everyone was like that. I need to remind myself that not everyone is like that. But yeah, I had my partner, who I'm still with now. We're almost on our 2-year anniversary. Yeah, I had my partner who basically took total care of me in that time and now. But yeah, at the time I was still so terrified that he was gonna leave me. And I want to say I got over this, but I'm better at it, and like I have spirals about it less and less. If he says he's okay with it, and he's okay with helping take care of me when I need it and stuff like that, that I have to trust him that he is, and he's not secretly plotting to, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, at the time, and even sometimes recently, I was terrified that he'd leave me, but like sometimes I got into spirals being like, well, maybe he should leave me if I'm useless, if I can't. Like, maybe he should be with some, which I'm not useless. You're not disabled. So, that's not what I mean. Okay, hold on. Let me focus. You're not useless if you're disabled. Okay? You're just disabled. Your worth is not equal to what you can do for other people. That's gonna be the point of the story, but I want to tell you now in case you're spiraling while I'm talking. Like, you're not. But anyway, I thought, like, maybe he should leave me. Maybe he should be with someone who can do more stuff, if you only love someone for the stuff they can do for you, then you don't really love them. And that's the thing I didn't really understand. I don't think I've been loved before just for existing. And that's what I couldn't get through my head. That, like, I didn't understand that I was being loved unconditionally because this whole time I didn't think that was a thing. So yeah, he wasn't having any of that shit, and he was like, what the fuck? But yeah, that kind of, I guess, taught me something about love and life in general and the kind of people I want to be around and the kind of person I want to be. And like, it's not the happiest of stories, but yeah, I feel like now with, knowing about this disability for long enough and being with my partner long enough and like getting, closer, and I guess having enough time for my brain to realize that, like, he hasn't switched up on me yet. I guess it's just learning to trust that people mean what they say, and like knowing that if they end up not meaning what they say, that like I'll be okay. I'll figure it out. Like, I've gone through worse shit. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I guess, well, I'm not saying that like you get a boyfriend and then suddenly you're okay with your disability and everything. And your self-worth is fixed. Because I wish. And it's like my boyfriend wasn't the only person who like was helping me with this. But yeah, I'm very grateful to those people, and I think, just being treated with kindness and love unconditionally, I think it just helped me realize that, I'm not only worth something if I can provide something or do something. Like, I do kind of feel like now I'm kind of matter maybe a little bit, and maybe, why is it so hard to say something nice? Like, I deserve respect just for existing, like the basic human respect for just existing. And like the people who love me don't love me for things I can do or things I can provide. And that's what real love is. Like I said. So I guess just realizing that, like, I was worthy just as I am, that kind of opened the gate and like made the base for me to be able to be okay with this too, because this is kind of like this is like a vessel for my not metaphorical disability, like, you know what I mean? This is where I'm putting the concept of my disability, okay? Like, this is kind of saying, yeah, I can't do shit sometimes, so I can't always be useful or whatever. So like I first had to accept that like it's okay if I wasn't useful. So then I could start accepting that I'm disabled. Does this make sense? It makes sense in my head. I'm trying really hard to explain to you what I mean, but like I hope it makes sense. I'm not very good at translating the thoughts in my head to words, but I tried. But yeah, I think a couple months after going to the no, it wasn't. It was like when I hurt my knee, I got the cane because I was struggling to walk on my own. I was struggling with balance and stuff. So I was using that. And I did not want to get that thing. Okay, I was so averse to using it. I was like, no, I'm not. I don't need it. I don't need it. Which wasn't because I was actually thinking, like, do I need it? And thinking about why I need it. I was just like, no, I can't need it. I can't need it. I was in full-blown denial. Which, you know, I'm not saying that evilly at myself either, because, like, yeah, that is a lot to handle. Especially with the stuff that was going on. I did not have room on my plate for this. Even though it was technically helpful, I did not have room in my head for that. Because, like, it's not just, like, about the getting the cane. Like, to get the cane and to use the cane, you have to accept that you need the cane first, and that's kind of, like, the hardest thing. Probably like, okay, well, what made you do this? Because this feels more intense, which it's not that much more intense, is what I am trying to tell myself. Because I use this a lot like I would use a cane. I don't really do much weight bearing on it unless on bad days where it's either that or rot in bed. The reason I got this is actually because we went to a concert, which is a weird reason, but I will elaborate. The concert was just kind of a catalyst for me getting my shit together. So yeah, we went to see Los Campesinos. It's a band. We've got the poster there, and we also saw Goat Girl. Yeah, so we went to Los Campesinos last week? This one was last week, but we also went to another one a year ago, like exactly a year ago, actually. And that was a standing concert. We didn't think of like getting accessible tickets or anything. So we just stood there for 2 hours, which the music was really good. But about like an hour in, I was no longer present at the concert, and that was because like I was in so much pain. I was barely, all of my energy and all of my focus was just into keeping myself upright and not passing out from the pain. Which, you know, oh, where's my necklace gone? I think it hid itself when I was like, Los Campesinos. Which, you know, I went with my partner, and, you know, afterwards when I told him how much pain I was in, he was like, why didn't you tell me that? We could have gone. But, you know, I was like, well, it's Los Campesinos, and that's his favorite band, and this was, like, their biggest show ever, and they haven't, like, done a show in so long. So I was like, well, I'll just push through, because, like, I don't know if they're gonna come back, and, like, I don't want to ruin everything, because I was still in my, you know, I ruin everything, and I'm God's punishment on the earth era. So I'll just push through, and then, yeah, by the end of it, I was, like, passing out from both probably exhaustion and pain. Like, my partner had to drag me between trains and home and into the taxi and everything, and I don't think I left my bed for ages afterwards. It was bad. It was bad. But, like, I pushed through it, and I was like, okay, fine, it's fine. And then my boyfriend was like, oh my god, I got us tickets for Los Campesinos again. And when I tell you my body had a physical fear, like fight or flight reaction to that sentence, which is not the reaction you want to have when someone tells you they got you tickets for a concert. He said that, and my brother was just like, you better fucking not do that to me again. Like, and I was like, great, that's so cool that you got tickets, but I might not be able to go. And yeah, I didn't think I could make it again. My body definitely didn't think it could make it again. So, like, we tried to think about, like, how to make it more accessible, because I still don't think we realized that we could ask for accessible seats, which is foreshadowing. We got accessible seats next time. But, yeah, so we were like, well, we could, like, get a hotel. There was, like, a pub, hotel, bed and breakfast thing near the venue. So we were like, well, we could just do that afterwards, and then I have time to rest before we need to go, which would have been better, but we forgot we were poor. And we still are poor, but like, we forgot we're poor, so we couldn't afford to do that. So we just didn't go. This time, because also Los Campesinos usually has like low-income tickets, which is cool. Yeah, so this time, it was a venue we've been to before, and we asked them, we gave them like evidence of my disability and stuff, but I was still like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to London, because that's also the thing, we have to go to London. And I was like, I'm not sure the cane is enough, because at this point, like, the cane has been helping, and that's what I have been using, but I've been using it more and more. Yeah, it just didn't really feel like enough anymore. I was falling over. I had a concussion as well because I fell over because to be fair, I wasn't using it. So I think I had spirals every so often, being like, I don't need it, I'm not disabled, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I just hurt myself. Don't do that. Ow. Yeah, don't do that either. But yeah, so then I was thinking and I was researching through mobility aid and stuff. And this guy kept seeming like a good option. And again, I did not want to get him either. Because same reason as that one, it was like, to get him, you kind of have to accept that you need him, and I did not want to accept that I need him. Yeah, I think it took me like weeks to actually get it, and I think it took my partner like being like threatening me like, if you don't buy it, I'm gonna buy it for you. And I was like, no, that would be so much worse. Then I'll have to accept I'm disabled and I'm gonna feel bad. But then I got it myself, so he didn't get it for me. And I used it to go to the concert, and it helped a lot. It actually felt very, very easy. Well, not easy, like it was still easy on the scale of what I was used to. I was almost mad at how helpful it was. And that's kind of what made me want to make this video, so I can kind of like collect my thoughts together on this. Like this and the accessible seats, and we got like a priority queue as well, so I didn't have to stand in the queue for hours. Not for hours, like for an hour. We had seats, even though it was a standing concert. They put us in like the VIP balcony place. It was so cool. And like we got home and like, yeah, I was in pain afterwards. And a little bit like during like near the end, and when we were getting home I was in pain. And I was also just really falling asleep on the train. But like I could walk by myself. I didn't need to be dragged anywhere. And like, did I need to rest for the 2 or 3 days afterwards in bed? Yeah. But I could focus on the concert while I was there, and that was unheard of. Like the whole time, well, basically the whole time I could focus on it, which was great. Like I had a great time. And like I think I was just like dumbfounded by like how easy it was compared to what I've been dealing with before. And I think it just made me realize that I really just need to get over having a disability, which not in I know it's not that easy, and I don't mean in the way of like, oh, just push through it and it's fine. I don't know, like disability is already hard, and by refusing to accept it and accommodate it, I'm just making it so much harder than it already is and than it needs to be. And it's like, if I can just like, it is hard and it's not that easy, and if you're in the same position, I'm not gonna be like, just get over it, man. But like, as much as I wished it was just my hormones or stress or something that I could take a pill and it would go away, it's not. And as hard as it is to accept that this is something I will live with for life, and it's hard to accept that, I feel like an alien a lot of the time because people don't really know much about disability most of the time. Neither the brain ones or the physical ones. And I get stares on the street. Like with the cane I got more than the crutch because I think people just think I injured my leg. Which isn't untrue, but it's not the main reason. But it is difficult, especially in a world that like aggressively tells you it's not built for you, and like especially in a world that's just not built for you, and you can see that in every corner. And it feels like nobody understands. And everything is so much harder, and you just, like it would be just so much easier if you could just put it all away and it didn't exist. It's still hard if you're denying it. But, at least it can be a little bit easier, and you cannot be miserable all the time if you just try to help yourself a bit more. Which, again, is also hard, because healthcare isn't accessible to everyone, and, and mobility aids. Like, I already have more than, a lot of people can ask for, but I still can't afford healthcare. Like, I was just, I can't go to an NHS physiotherapist because none of them are commissioned. For my condition, apparently, I went to every single one around. So, that or they just hate me in particular. But, yeah, that means, and I can't afford to go to the private one I had. I only got, like, one session with them, and I couldn't afford it anymore. And I don't have a diagnosis, so it's so hard to apply for any supports. So, but I think that also, kind of makes me double down on the thing that, if I can't afford healthcare, and if the healthcare system in this country does not seem to be able to handle me, and no one's gonna help me, which I'm also trying not to spiral into the whole no one's gonna help me, because it's a valid feeling, but I don't want to stay in it. If no one else is gonna help me, then I need to be the one helping myself. I need to be the one giving myself grace. I need to be the one, you know, telling myself it's okay to use mobility aids and using them and taking care of myself, because it just seems like looking at the news and the state of doctors, and like looking at the doctors and the doctor horror stories, which I'm not gonna go into because I don't want to cry. And the world isn't built for us, so we have to be the ones taking care of ourselves, which, sucks because we're already the ones who need help. But yeah, I can't make it harder for myself when the world and everywhere around is already making it harder, you know? Like, I mean, at least I found something that helped a little bit. That's still a step forward. And like, I went to a concert and I had a great time with my partner. I went to the cinema with one of our friends recently too. I can go on walks by myself. I can go out to the shops by myself and not pass out. I mean, I did almost pass out recently, but this helped. I don't know. I guess that's also why I wanted to make this video, kind of to like drive the point home to myself that, life can be okay sometimes. Radical, I know. But yeah. I think that's all I wanted to say. Love Los Campesinos. I really like Goat Girl. Anyway, yeah, I'm done talking now. Yeah, bye. Boom.